It show, you know me, Heather Lee Chapman, your high performance coach for conscious entrepreneurs, teaching you self and business mastery. And here on the Own It Show, we're here to inspire conscious entrepreneurs just like you and help uncommon knowledge become common. And today we actually have a very special guest. I'm going to read a little bit about him, but I will let him share more about himself. And what we want to really help you guys today is to inspire you to own your finances, and to create that financial abundance. So Mark Willis is a man on a mission to help you think differently about money, your economy, and your future. So Mark, please introduce yourself and share more about yourself. Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure, Heather. Glad to be on. Yeah, I'm after writing three number one best-selling books and working with clients all over the country, it's been an honor and a privilege to get to hear and see the stories of people who are really owning it with their finances and the journey it takes to get there. Because we're not just born owning it in anything, but we get this special privilege in life to own the domain that we've been lent or leased for a little while. We're on this side of the grass, and so yeah, we've been having a lot of fun with clients all over the country, sitting down to do financial consultations and building their businesses and their financial futures.
I love that. And let everyone know where you are.
We live and work right out of Chicago, out of about maybe an hour outside of the city of Chicago, and we've been here in the area for about 11 years now.
Fantastic. And people can connect with you and work with you virtually as well.
That's right, all 50 states and really beyond. If you live beyond, give us a shout. We'd love to chat.
Love it. Fantastic. And I love Chicago. I did a Z Health education course there for a weekend. It is the Windy City. And it was
Hmm.
so much fun though. So we would love,
Absolutely.
yeah, we would love for you to share a little bit about your entrepreneur journey, because we want to inspire entrepreneurs to stay on the journey and perhaps maybe even get started. We know it's a fun roller coaster and it's definitely a journey. So why don't you share a little bit about that?
Sure. It's certainly not easy, and most people find themselves sort of walking backward into the entrepreneurial journey. I remember my moment when it was finally time to kick the W 2 day job to the curb. My wife and I had been trying to pay off our student loan debts. We had piled up six figures of student loan debt, and we were trying to pay it off the old fashioned way with what's called the debt snowball method. And as I was walking down the street trying to find work, I was basically just going door to door looking for work as a young adult with a mega burden of debt on my shoulders. I probably looked slumped over, just trying to get that job and being denied jobs and tried to get a job at a bank, didn't get the job, and so on. And ended up finding a CPA firm that allowed me a little bit of work on the side, and we helped prep their tax returns for their clients and so forth. But Heather, it was in the midst of the fallout of the Great Recession of 2008, 9, 10, and so on, and I had the unhappy privilege of hearing the CPA, who was very good at what she did, make the phone call. You know the phone call I'm talking about, where they call the client and say, "I'm sorry, Mr. Client, but the world's recession just took away half your life savings, and you're 62 years old, and you can't retire like we thought." And
Mm.
that shivered my bones. I'm telling you, that was a scary. I did not want to make that call to any of my clients, should I ever have any. And thank goodness I was just sort of an account helper, getting things ready at the time. But I almost quit the industry, almost left the business, did not pursue the entrepreneurial path. But we stumbled across some strategies in the midst of the Great Recession, and as we were trying to pay off all our student loans, that not only helped solve the problem of clients getting to their goals without taking unnecessary risk, but also helped my wife and I in the moment before retirement pay off our debts and not just become debt free, but become better than debt free, which helped us, launch and scale and grow our business as well. Those are the strategies and tips and tactics that we specialize in with our clients and we talk about on our podcast, Not Your Average Financial Podcast, as well.
I love that. Guys, make sure you head over there and check out that podcast, because financial education is rare. It's not in our regular school system. It's not something you're taught. It's something you need to go and discover for yourself. So find the right person, tune in and educate yourself. And like you said, you started a lot of people start with the job. I started with a job in 9 to 5 for 1 year, and then I was offered $1 raise, and I thought, no, thank you. And I've been on my own ever since. And I really encourage everyone just to get out there and find what is your zone of genius. Enjoy the journey, put one foot in front of the other, and just keep doing the things day in and day out to build that success. And so now it's time to talk about those tips and tricks to help you own that financial abundance. So let's get into it.
Well, sure. I think the biggest piece is just don't take the advice of your financial planner, whoever he or she might be. Please understand that they probably want to do right for you. They didn't get into the business to swindle you, but they are not to be the one in charge of your money. Nobody should care more about your money than you do. And that's that's okay. It's okay for you maybe not to have a CFP after your name, to be a certified financial planner. You don't have to be pope of money to manage your own money. To own your own cash and to own your own financial future does not mean you need to be a PhD in finance, but you also cannot outsource your money to somebody else. It must be yours at the end of the day. Otherwise, they're going to take it whether they like it or not, whether they're doing it as a scam or just through negligence. You will see money slip through your fingers if you don't, to the word of your podcast, if you don't own it.
I love that. I can't remember where I read it, but I heard that Oprah still signs every check. Any money that goes in or out goes through her first. And I thought, how wonderful. And she has an empire.
Hmm.
So she cares the most about her money. So I love that. That's such a great tip. I feel like that's a great t-shirt. No one should care more about your money than you.
That's right, and that comes from a lot of self-learning and pain from the past. But there cannot be a money guru. I don't want to be your money guru. Nobody else should be your money guru except you. You must care more about your money than anyone else.
I love that. What a great tip. Keep them rolling.
All right, great. So the next is averages mean nothing. Averages mean nothing. What this means, and dig a little deeper, let's double click on this one. So let me say for a moment that you and I invest some money, and let's say you give me some money to invest for you. You give me, let's say, $10,000 to put to work, and let's say I do a great job in the first year, and I double your money. We go from $10,000 to $20,000. And then you're feeling great, so you stick with me for year two. And in year two, I'm asleep at the wheel and I lose half of your money, a negative 50%. So we go from 20,000 back down to 10,000. Heather, so far, just to kind of recap, in year one, we went from 10 to 20. And in year two, we went from 20 back down to 10. Do you feel any wealthier after 2 years?
No.
No, that's right. Yeah, good, good. Now, if we were to do a math experiment here, we would find that you had a 0% real return. As you said, you don't feel any wealthier. You started with 10, you ended it with 10. However, your average rate of return in that exact scenario was 25%. We gave you a 25% average rate of return. And guess what? Your 401k, your IRA, your retirement account, your brokerage account, they're all allowed to advertise an average rate of return. And we just learned that average rates of return are meaningless. What matters is a internal rate of return if you want to get technical, but the real honest truth is you need to follow the money. How's the money doing? You cannot spend a rate of return at the grocery store. What matters is how's the money doing? Is it growing? And over time, is it changing in value? And are you taking some of those profits from the market, or is it just paper money going up and down on a screen or on an account statement? So that's the second one, is average returns mean nothing.
I love that. And for you can't take the average return to the grocery store. I love that. And for those who are just learning about, getting into investing, do you have a recommendation of what to start with?
Well, I would say as a business owner, there's a few things working for you and a few things working against you. So you are your greatest investment. And that's not just woo woo stuff. That's legit. You are your greatest investment. Let's say that you don't have a business yet, but let's say you're making, give me a number, 50,000 bucks a year. Okay. 50,000 bucks is your current salary. And let's say that you're 30 years old, and let's say you're going to work until you're 65. So that means we have 25 years to go. And let's say you never got a pay raise. So $50,000, never got a pay raise after Oh, after 25 years. So that's not exactly investing in yourself. But did you know that that totals a whopping $1.2 million? Dollars? Just 50 grand times 25. That's incredible. Now, if we were to do a simple, growth of that money, if you got some compound growth on that money, if you got a couple of pay raises, if you got some side hustles, or even better, if you started a business or an empire, then that 1.2 million becomes 5 million, becomes 25 million, becomes 50 million. It's incredible how you and investing in yourself can actually create the best investment of your life. I can't find any mutual fund, can't find an index fund, cannot find anything that matches what you can do if you invest in yourself. So again, it's down to brass tacks, and it really matters your education, your self affirmations, what you believe about yourself, how you communicate yourself with your customers or with your spouse or with your your business partners. You must really become the gold in your portfolio, the best asset in your portfolio. And it starts with you. It really does. It starts within the 4 to 6 inches between your ears every single day. If you're doing that sort of investing, you're going to go far.
I love that. And my coach once said that all successful people invest 20% of their revenue back into themselves, to coaches, to education. Would you agree that that's a good number?
Especially early on. Now, you might, once you get up to $20 million revenue business, you might have a hard time finding that many coaches or online courses. But yeah, you can absolutely count on putting yourself first. And unfortunately, too many entrepreneurs pay themselves last. And if there's anything left over, they might scratch out a little bit of money for some takeout once in a while or something. But yes, if you can flip the script of traditional accounting is, sales minus expenses equals profit. If you can flip that upside down and say, uh, sales is profit and the leftover can be spent on the business, that's when you really can begin to be profitable, even in day one of your business. Okay, so it does mean you take some of the money out. You are the most important cog in the machine of your business. Without you, if you're a solopreneur just getting started in your business, let's say, and you're not being well fed and the oil is not being changed, so to speak, on your personal life, that part of the machine is going to break down and your business will fail. We cannot starve our way to success. So you can always shrink expenses in your business. The business expense is like a hungry monster that never gets satisfied.
Yeah.
So make sure you take that profit first, and leftovers go to the business's never-ending expense machine.
And I think that's actually a really good point, because a lot of entrepreneurs in the beginning forget about paying themselves first. And so define pay yourself first. Right. So you said, you have to take the what you need, and then leftover goes into the business. And
Hmm.
what would you say you need? So there's your
Hmm.
actual living, like what is the
Yep.
quality of a life, like you said. So for me, what never gets cut in a budget is my food and supplementation. Right,
Hmm.
me first. We teach, the best way to win is to work on you and not just your business. So that's first. And then investing, saving, long term, short term, and getting that started, and actually so that you're lucrative. Because I know for a lot of entrepreneurs in the beginning, they don't pay themselves first. They're not lucrative. They put everything right back into the business and they get the leftovers. So, what does paying yourself first mean to you?
Well, in many sales businesses and sales jobs, there's something known as base pay plus commission. That might be a familiar phrase to some people. So, what you described first is the base pay. You want to make sure that you are feeding yourself, you are sheltering yourself, you're clothing yourself at a nominal amount, and you're fighting to live and see another day, basic transportation to get to and from. All right, so that's the base pay. What does it take? Sit down and do a little, back of the napkin or a legal pad to calculate what does it take for your base pay. Maybe that's cheaper than we thought. We don't want to starve ourselves, but we also don't need any luxuries if all we're doing is covering the base expenses. Okay. So that's the base pay. Now, what about commission? Commission is whatever you would need to pay someone else to do your job. So think about what is it that you do to run your business. And if you're the CEO, the CFO and the janitor of your own business, you got a lot of people who would do the job that you're currently doing. So you're going to need to pay yourself quite a bit before we start giving a lot of money over to the expenses and growing that marketing budget and growing that the internet apps that we seem to accumulate like old comic books and so forth. So I would say definitely the thing that to really track yourself with is look on glassdoor.com or go find somewhere else that would represent the kind of work you're doing for your own business and pay yourself that. Now, if you can't do that yet, at least cover your base pay. And if you can't even cover your base pay, you might want to think about repositioning your business model. You might want to think about how you are putting this business together and if it's time to launch your business. Okay. So there's always a run rate. Maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 6 months. Give yourself the time you need to see if your business is viable. But if after, call it 6 months, give yourself a timeline and have a friend or two hold you accountable to it. If we're not able to get that base pay figured out pretty quick, we have an expensive hobby. We don't have a business at that point. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And no one wants an expensive hobby. Everybody wants a lucrative business.
Well, yeah, I love expensive hobbies. I mean, give me a horse and give me some
Yes,
golf, and
different kind of
but
hobby.
I can't call it a business
Yeah,
if it's wasting money. I just call it a fun hobby, and I keep it in my weekends. Let's say, yeah.
love that. Thank you so much for those tips. What else did you have to share there? I know you've
Well,
got
I would
lots
say
of tips for us today.
one more tip, if we have it, is to fire your banker. And this is because not because we want to get out of banking. Here's the honest truth: we're already in the banking business. I don't care what business you run. If you have an online business, if you're doing something brick and mortar, regardless of your work, you have two businesses that you're in. You're in the business that you started and launched, and good on you. Hopefully, it's successful. But you're also in the banking business. And here's the honest truth: banks are ready to hop on your back and, like bloodsuckers, they will take it all and leave you for dead once it's all gone. And I've unfortunately seen the truth here. And this is maybe the most important thing you can do is not just become free from banks. I mean, that's fine. But the trouble is, even if you pay cash for everything in your business or your personal life, you're still in the banking industry because you're using their system. You're using their checking accounts, savings accounts. And to some degree, we can't avoid that because we all participate in this thing called money. But you can also do one better than just using a checking or savings, whatever. And you can certainly do better than paying with credit cards and lines of credit, things that keep you in their snares. Okay. So these banks, I've seen them suck people dry. And I've seen people who thought they were doing it the right way by paying cash for everything. Here's the honest truth and the big aha moment for me: you finance everything you buy. You finance everything you buy. Either you pay interest to a banker, credit cards, car loans, student loans, bank loans, business lines of credit, or you pass up interest you could have earned on your money had you not spent the money and left it invested instead. This is called financing it from your future self. And you don't want your future self upset with you. Okay. So if I buy a car with cash today, I feel great in the moment. It's like the sugar high of finance to pay cash for everything. But if I really do the math on that, if I bought a $40,000 car today, what would $40,000 have grown to had I not bought the car and just left it invested instead? It might be over 150 grand, 200 grand by the time I'm ready to tap into that money in the future. So the real price of that vehicle was not 40 grand. It was whatever it would have grown to, 200 grand, whatever. So you multiply that by 7 or 8 cars over your lifetime, and that's $1 million just for stinking cars, Heather. So
Yeah.
instead, what if you could become your own banker and actually flip the script here? Take the banking function away from the banks down the street, the snakes that take money and crush businesses, and instead become that banker yourself for yourself and pay yourself an interest that would be similar to what the banks would have charged you anyway. But now you get to control the repayment plan. You're in control. You own the banking function in your own life. I would say, in fact, and I'll wrap up with this and I'll get off my soapbox: whoever is in control of your financial life, whoever is the banker in your life, is going to win the financial game in your life. So whoever's the banker in your financial life is going to win the game in your financial life. If you've given that function of banking to somebody else, if you've outsourced it, you're going to see them take your money and run. If instead you've insourced the banking function, if you've become your own banker, then all of a sudden you've got the purse strings and you get to control the environment in which your money lives in your financial future.
I love that. I just want to add a little bit to it because I once heard Robert Kiyosaki say, if you took that 40,000, let's just say, and you paid for the car, if you put that in, you can now buy the car with the interest. So that's being your own banker. That
That's
I
right.
love.
hmm
Absolutely love that. And then there was one more thing. It was for a lot of people, they don't understand that in the beginning, I learned this way. Grew my business in cash. Then you don't have credit. Right? So there's also a way to make sure that those options are available to you, and you have to learn the banking system so that you can become your own banker and not paying for things that are actually costing you triple. I actually just saw Grant Cardone break it down. When you buy a house, here's how much interest you paid when, or how much you had to pay when you bought it. And this is how much the bank also made when you sold it. And here's how much interest you paid throughout the time. So the house actually cost you this much. It wasn't a true investment. And so he was teaching people how to build revenue through real estate instead, and teaching you that owning your own home isn't necessarily that revenue that he's talking about, because you're actually, the bank is just winning, winning, winning. So I
hmm
love that, learning to truly become your own banker, to have those finances available to you, to pay yourself and purchase things off the interest you're earning, to have your money make you money. My grandfather always said, you'll never get rich from your wages.
That's
So
right.
financial education is so important. And this has been so fantastic. Thank you so much. Let everyone know where they can come learn more about you, connect with you, and really, truly own their financial abundance.
Well, if you are looking for ways to become your own source of financing, not just paying cash, but truly paying yourself the interest you'd otherwise pay credit cards, banks, finance companies, and you'd like to find true financial freedom with actual financial tools that have been around for hundreds of years that work, that help you become your own source of financing, love to chat with you. I think we can help. We work with folks all over the country. We're at kickstartwithmark.com. That's kickstartwithmark.com. And I guess that's it. We do a 15-minute free consultation to understand your situation. As a certified financial planner, don't know you or your situation until we've listened. And if it does look like we can help, then we'd set up a strategy and find out what it would look like in your shoes to own it and make your financial life yours.
I love that. So may you own your finances, may you become your own banker, and may you learn how to make money work for you. Thank you so much for everything today, Mark. Remember, everybody, expect magic and miracles. Stay happy, healthy, wealthy, and we'll see you soon.